Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Kiddie Korner Media. And we've come here and used books for many different reasons. Mainly, though, to talk about difficult topics and introducing them to kids, or our feelings, how do we deal with them, how can we react. But books can also be a great way to introduce subjects from school or from home, from life, especially historical subjects. And in honor of Pride Month today, I decided to highlight a book called Stonewall, A Building, an Uprising, a Revolution. And it's by Robert Sabders. And, it's a great way to help history come a little more alive for kids. One time I taught a unit on immigration, and there's a lot of facts, there's a lot to go over, but I started each lesson with a different story of a different family or person immigrating from different countries to the United States. And I felt it brought a very much a emotional side to what are cold hard facts. And the kids really enjoyed it. In fact, at one point, we even created our own Ellis Island, and they had to go through the whole immigration process that many did for a long time. And to see the kids get all emotional into it and really feel it, I thought the books helped bring that part into the lesson and made it a little more alive for them. And in this book, I really like it because it starts off with talking about the history of the building itself, and then goes into the significance of that building and what happened there. It was the start of our modern day Pride movement. There was Pride movements beforehand, but this is where how we see it now all started. And just for a few little facts, since we are talking about history, the Stonewall Inn first started off as two stable houses in 1840, two places to bring their horses. But as time passed and the wealthy who had lived in the village at that time moved uptown, it eventually became in 1930 a restaurant called Bonnie's Stonewall Restaurant. But by the 60s, it became a whole new building called the Stonewall Inn. And then by 67, the Stonewall Inn became a place for LGBTQ people to come, to celebrate, to be themselves, especially out in a world where they were considered illegal for just existing. And sometimes, and often, I should say, the place would get raided by police. People would be arrested just for being there, for not dressing the way they're expected to dress, until June 28th, 1969, when the Stonewall riots started. Eventually, people have enough. They had enough. And when you've been persecuted for a long time, that can happen. Sometimes when someone's pushed up against a wall too many times, they push back. Now, no one was seriously injured or killed during these riots, but it did happen. And eventually, 1 year later, the first modern Pride Parade began. And from there, we have what we have now. It was a place for acceptance, a place to be oneself in a world that wanted everyone else to conform. A lot of people would say that's still happening today. But knowing where some place started, knowing the significance, the emotions, the meanings behind it, can help bring that history to life. It can help have more understanding for different people. And that was the beauty of the place. It was where people who were different can be together and accepted. In truth, the village itself was a place for people who were not the norm to hang out. sometimes. People say it's still that way. I've never been there myself. I hope to one day and see it for myself. And there was this beautiful line in the book that I want to share with you. Greenwich Village was a place where you could be yourself, and where being different was welcome and accepted. Acceptance is an important thing that we all need, that we all look for deep down. And to have a place like that, and then have the place ruined, can be heartbreaking. This book brings that time alive for those who choose to read it, showing them the feelings, the emotions, the history, the need behind having places like this. And what else I like about this book is that at the end, you get pictures of the actual place, dates, information. There's a lovely interview with the author in the back, as well as a little bit more of the history, bringing it alive for the readers. Now, books like these also don't have to be for little ones just because they're picture books. I use this method with my immigration lessons, my unit, with an older, higher grade level. And they were still in trance. Don't think just because a kid gets to a certain age and maybe acts too cool or even thinks that maybe it's not for them, can still be transfixed by the beauty of a book, the beauty of the pictures, the words, and how those emotions can feel. Just food for thought. Well, I hope you like this. Check out the book if you ever get a chance, and if you want to know a little more about the history of this wonderful place, and pass on that positivity. Bye.